lead, grow, play, great shopping, celebrating diversity, community engagement, ethics at work, and accessibility, environment, education, and supplier responsibility. These are the core values laid out respectively by ezCater, Target, and Apple. Core values, mission statements, vision statements, we've all heard of them because of companies. They have them plastered on their walls, they have them in their handbooks, they have them written all over their website. These core values are a set of beliefs that govern the way the employees are, the managers are, and just the culture as a whole. These cold, distant companies started becoming something that we could relate to, something that wasn't so distant. We could relate to them because they had core values that we also believed in. So why don't humans have core values and mission statements? Why isn't it plastered around our homes, on our walls, in our journals? And why don't other people know about them? Doesn't it make more sense for humans to have core values than these big companies? I think it's about time we had them. Do you ever feel disconnected between the person that you want to be and the person that you are? Do you ever feel like you're drifting farther and farther away from that person that you used to want to be? It may just be because you are not following a set of core values. Values and mission statements and purpose, they are all tied together. And I'm telling you that if you do have core values that govern you, your life is going to be made a lot easier. Because you have less decisions to make, because you can refer to these values when you're going to do something or say yes or no to something, and you turn to these and you see if they fit, if they align, and if they don't, then you don't do it. That is the power of core values and the power in following them closely. If thinking about this seems cheesy at all to you, then I may know why. Companies, of course, have these, and most companies preach them and they put them out on their social media and they shout it out for the world to see. Some companies do follow through on their core values, but most don't. For the companies, it's about the recognition. It's about people seeing if they are socially responsible and all of that. And we want you to avoid that. To avoid caring so much about the perceptions of others, all of that other stuff. We want to avoid caring about that as much as we can and just focus on our core values and why they're important to us. With your core values, you need to believe in them. Because if you don't, people will notice. Or will they notice? Because people live unfulfilled lives all of the time. Purposeless, core valueless. So actually, I might argue, you will stand out if you are one of these people that has a purpose and has core values that they follow through with. I can give you quite an easy example. This YouTube channel. For the past 3 weeks, I've been putting out work from home videos, and yes, I am engaged in the topic because, I've been working from home and I think that I can improve people's lives in this area. But it's definitely not my passion. So what did I do? I reflected. And what happens after reflection? A shift in direction, a little bit more clarity of purpose. We are allowed to flounder in our purpose. We just have to get back up and realign it. What I am most concerned about and what I care most about is the internal person, the internal state, the person that you have to live with. As you live with yourself and the person that you want to be and embody, I want you to look that person, that ideal self, in the eye and beckon them to you, to embrace them warmly, to hold them tight and to not let them go, because that is precious. That is what we are sometimes just terrified to do. That is why I am making a video to help you discover or rediscover your core values, your set of governing beliefs. I think these are so important. So I stress that you do this exercise for your own happiness and well-being. So I have a brief exercise for you that happens in 3 simple parts. Now, it is a journaling exercise, and I myself do consider myself a journaler, and I understand that you may not. But to put the pressure off of you, you don't have to write long form sentences. You don't even have to write in sentences at all. Either way, we want to get all that stuff in our mind down on paper. Now, this first exercise is about peak experiences, so I want you to pick 1 or 2 examples that you can think of when you had a peak experience. So this is when you had a very meaningful experience, it really stood out to you, you were in the zone and really enjoying what you were doing. And as you think about this experience, I want you to answer the question, what core values was I honoring at this time? This is going to give you a list of core values. Now try to make more as opposed to less, because we're later going to group them together and parse them down. So use this as an opportunity to just get those core values out and don't think too hard about them. I will give you an example of what I came up with when I did this exercise, just to give you an idea of how this is going to work for you. I came up with 4 core values from the scene that I conjured. So I thought back to the time when I was, I think, middle school, high school. I used to write these scripts for my grandma and me. I used to write them, make my grandma memorize them, and then film them. And man, if my grandma did not get her lines right, I would be mad at her. That's how serious I was about this. And the storyline that I came up with was about these 2 girls named Vanessa and Rubella, and they ran away from their parents' home, they wrote them a note, and they just ran off. That was my storyline. And after we filmed the videos, I would then use iMovie to edit the scenes. There were 4 core values that came about from this scene. So the first 2, creativity and childlike nature, came up. I wrote about 2 runaway kids. I used a pillow to stuff my shirt when I was pretending to be Vanessa and Rubella's mom, and I made my grandma carry a frisbee as the steering wheel so she could be pretending to drive as we looked for our lost children. Now, if that's not creative and childlike nature enough, then I don't know what is. This also matched some of my other themes that come up in my memories. So these are 2 core values to take away. The other 2 core values that came up were open-mindedness and continuous learner. Now, the writing of the videos were fun, but what was really fun was editing them. I did not hesitate to learn a new tool. Like I said, I used iMovie to edit these videos, and I really loved editing in iMovie, but I hadn't come across it, and I didn't really have tutorials to watch, or I just didn't look them up. I just took to it and figured it out. It's not the most complex thing, but it still showed me what I want to identify with. That person that just delved into learning this. I didn't slam my fists on the table and get up because I was too frustrated. I just learned it, and I loved learning it, and I felt good when I was doing so. So those are 4 values that I took away from this memory. Now this is a great exercise to come up with a list of core values, but I do have another one for you that can also help you to get more if you just want to delve a little bit deeper into finding your core values. Now this one goes in the opposite direction. This one looks at the core values when they're being suppressed. So think about a time that you were upset or frustrated or just angry. And think about what was going on at the time, how you were feeling, and just everything that was happening. And then identify what values were being suppressed at the time. So now we are going to group our core values together by similarity. So look at your list of core values and see the ones that they're very similar, and you want to put a box around them or gather them together. For instance, learning, growth, and development are very similar core values, so you might want to group those ones together. So take a few minutes to do that. Then you are going to narrow them down to the ones that are the most essential to your life. So as you're getting these core values slimmed down, I want you to ask yourself the question, are these core values essential to my way of being? Yeah, we want the core values to be sincerely core to you. Those are the ones that we want to keep. So you'll want to come up with probably 4 to 8 core values that you identify with. Now, of course, you can have as many or as few core values as you want, but you don't want to have such a long list that you just can't keep track. I mean, these things have to be very important to you. You may want a list of core values for you to refer to just to give you an idea of what the options are out there. So I have put a list of them in the description box below. And I do recommend that you don't directly go to this list, because you do want the core values to come from within. And it's only fair that I share with you my core values so you can get an idea of what I am all about. Authenticity. I am real. Introspection. I reflect, make meaning, and change as needed. Compassion. I feel and empathize with others. Optimism, childlike. All can be made bright and made fun. Perseverance. Stubborn at times, with willpower to go on. Openness to learn, grow, and change. I hold a growth mindset. And I encourage you to put the core values that you come up with in the comments below. And I'm very excited to see what you guys come up with from this exercise. Remember that these core values can make life a lot easier for you. Just to give a couple of examples, say that your core value is honesty, and say that your boss lies to one of your employees. Now, because your core value is honesty, it is so easy for you to make the decision to make things right, whether to talk to your boss or the employee, however you do it, but it's easy for you to choose that. Also, say one of your core values is family. That means when your kid asks you to spend time with him or her, you're more likely to say yes or to even schedule time with your kid. That is the power of core values. Before I let you go, I want you to know that this channel, in the comment section below, is a place of safety. On this channel, I'm going to ask you to explore deeply about yourselves and your purpose, and these are things that you're probably afraid to think about yourself. And that's okay. Just thinking about a life that you want and realizing that you're drifting away from it is incredibly difficult, but it doesn't have to be. I will be vulnerable here to you, and I hope you have the courage to do the same. Next week, I'm going to walk you through how to develop your mission statement. Yes, I am so excited for this. Once that's posted, I will link it here. Because when you have your core values and your mission statement, it is like a power combination, and it is one step closer to you becoming the person you want to be, to you becoming your ideal self. I hope your day is as meaningful as you make it to be.